All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thursday, and then I'll probably post this for the other class. It'll be Friday as well for them. But for period 5, Thursday. Everybody else, you'll see this on Friday. Basically, a video to explain a little bit about what I expect from you working on the apartment task and then the following problem. And so, I guess my biggest thing, and honestly, if you learn nothing this year in my class, the one thing I want you to be able to do is to not just sit there looking at a problem. You know a lot, and you'll learn a lot that you will know. And so when you go to solve a problem, there's got to be something you can do than just sit there. Okay? So, and the only reason I say that is some of you were confused how to start, and that's okay, but start doing something. And this is what I mean. So, the biggest thing you can do is start with what you know, and then what can you do with that information? Anything you can do with that information. Okay, so if you look at what we know, two of the things are the 6-foot and the 10-foot dimensions for the kitchen being 6 feet wide and the bedroom bathroom being 10 feet wide. All right, so that's two things we already know. It's already labeled on there on the diagram. I made another diagram just to show you. So even though that's information we know, we can still play with that. We can still do some stuff here. So the 10 feet can be transferred up here. All right, we know these rooms are rectangular. That 6 feet can come across even to here. Now it's not the whole thing, right? But it is part of it, part of that side to about there. So we are still missing pieces of our dimensions, right? Of the outside dimensions. I mean, we know the kitchen is 6 foot by something. We know the bed and bath is 10 foot by something. The living room we know nothing about. But so we can move those around based on the information we know. Now, there are two other pieces of information though. And when I say use the information you know, you just everything or anything that has to do with it. Okay, so the other thing says the area of the living room is 180 square feet. I like to draw diagrams and I like to put the information in the diagrams. So the living room is 180 square feet. That means that if we laid a carpet out, it would cover, and it was 180 square feet, it would perfectly cover the surface of the floor. Think of it as 180 foot squares being inside of this rectangle. All right. Now the other thing that it says is the area of the whole thing, and I'm going to write that down here. Area of whole thing of whole apartment is, what was it, 450 square feet. All right, so we've pretty much exhausted everything we can do with the 10 foot and the 6 foot, but let's look at the area, the 180 and the 450. You can use either, but the question then you have to ask yourself is, first off, we know the area. What can that tell us then about what we don't know? What we don't know is the other dimensions, or what do we want to know? What is the question asking? Question asks, find the possible dimensions for every room. And by dimensions, it means the length and the width. Now, some of it's done for us, right? So the 6 and the 10. But now we need to use the area to determine other parts of the dimensions. All right. I find when I look at this, I find breaking it down easier than focusing on the whole thing. It is possible to use this 450 square feet and start there and think about what length of the whole thing and the width, when we multiply them, give us 450. So when you're given area and you need to find dimensions, for example, these sides, you're thinking length times width. Length times width gives you the area. All right. Now you could do the whole thing. I personally prefer to break it down. And so where my brain's going here is 180 square feet for just the living room. If you need to erase everything else, some people like to separate it. We're just focusing on here. I'll erase it. I'm just focusing on the living room and the 180 square feet that we know nothing about other than its area. All right. We need to find the length and we need to find the width. Length times width gives us area. All right. So what are we going to do from there? We have no guidance. We have no way of knowing anything except for the area is always going to be 180. Well, this is where you need to problem solve. This method's called guess and check. That's what all of the problems on here are, guess and check. And you're just going to guess some numbers that work. So for example, I know 18 times 10 gets you 180. So that is a possibility. Now I say a possibility because we don't know if that's going to work, right? But it could work. Now, it's called guess and check. So far we've guessed. How do we check? Well, let me draw the rest of the diagram. Okay. Well, we know that the area of the whole thing is 450, right? Area of the whole thing is 450. Well, now what do we have? We have the length of the whole thing. If we say that's going to be 18, 18 plus 6, that's 24. And 10 plus 10 is 20 for the whole of both the length and the width of the whole apartment. And you just need to check. So this is the check part. We guessed 18 and 10 because that worked for the living room. Now we need to do length and the width to check if it works for the whole thing. 20 times 24 is not 450. It is 480. So it gets close. And so that didn't work. So now we do another guess and another check. All right. So that's what I want you to do for this problem. And I want you to figure out which dimensions are going to work. All right. There are other ways to do this problem. So please, by all means, if you don't like what I said and you can't follow it, try a different way. All right. But guess and check. Use that then. So we said what, 18 and 10 was my original guess. So stick around 18 and 10. What other numbers close to that would give you 180 as your square footage for the living room, and then check it to see if it works for the whole thing. It's the same thing down here. I'm asking you to do the one with the bullseye. We don't know how many of each type this person threw. They're throwing darts. And it either goes in the white or the center, that like white outside and the black center. And they hit a certain amount in each. We don't know, but we do know the total number of points. So you can guess numbers and see how close you can get to 160 points, right? So that's what I expect you guys to do. And from now on, if we do a problem, take everything you know and try and break it down and figure out options based on what you know and go from there when we want to solve problems, all right? Other than that, guys, take care. Good luck with these problems and let me know if you have any questions.